Yes, I signed my soul on the dotted line. My kids, as I said, a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and now, of course, my 6-year-old, and I hang out with them, and I want them to see the people who I know. And I'm not a journalist, as you know. I'm not even a comedian, as you know. I'm a.
You exaggerate.
I would like to say that I am exaggerating, but the truth is that through my own quest for fun, I'm an entertainer, performer. Comedy is is the residual. It's like I put in the light bulb for heat. For light, but heat is a side effect. So one of the side effects of Adam Paddle is comedy, not anything else. Like I'm not trying to go out of my way to be funny. Even when I'm telling a doctor or a lawyer I need their help and I'm dying, they're laughing with tears coming down their cheeks, and they apologize. And I said, yeah, but we're going to sue you. And they still laugh because what I'm saying and how I say things is a defense mechanism. So that's how that goes. But I know you forever. I actually, my first time on stage as trying to be a performer in the genre of comedy was a stage called Big City Improv.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that was ran by a man, I don't know where he is anymore, named Paul Bernardo.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was a problem, because it was back in a time where a man named Paul Bernardo was also the Scarborough rapist.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately for him. So a bad time to be in comedy, made the Late Show kind of meek, and everything else was certainly a problem for this particular gentleman. Anywho, but that was certain comedians, and that was part of the independent circuit. But I was friends with the person who was doing accounting and financial advising through for Yuck Yucks, and he offered me tickets. So when I was 15 years old, I had a free ticket and brought a friend, and I saw the best show of my life. And then they used to run these radio promotional programs that for $1 you would see good comedy. Like it would be a bunch of you would coin the phrase amateur. I coined the phrase up and coming. And you would still have a Norm Macdonald or a Mike Macdonald or a Howie Mandel or someone would show up at the end of such show, and it was completely awesome. So I got sucked in.
We even had people like Rich Hall come up. He used to do that a lot. He used to come up and try his bits on Yuck Yuck's amateur night or up and comer night before he did them on Letterman.
Yeah, no, this is what I'm saying. So,
yeah.
And then I stepped on a sink or swim night. It was a crash and burn. It was a let's see bad people, like you're saying. You wanted to call it a comedy school, but truthfully, again, the side effect of watching losers bomb badly, as Ron Boulder would put it, is sometimes what you got, and that became its own flavor of comedy. You know, like the Gong Show almost. Like the Gong Show, you hardly ever got someone who was actually talented. Well,
how true?
What?
Yeah. How true?
Yeah, it became a Gong Show.
I didn't really like the crash and burn sort of concept. I thought we would be way better off nurturing comedy in the up and comers rather than pounding it into them and shaming them on stage. Because I really did see Yuck Yucks like at comedy college. And I thought that was important. Personally, I thought that was like the best thing they did for the comedy community is give you guys a stage, a club, an audience in which you could try your bits and eventually own your craft into what it became. I mean, you know the type of people that have gone through the Yuck Yuck stages. From Jim Carrey to Mike Mandel, everybody knows that. Yes, Norm Macdonald, Jeremy Hotz, some brilliant talent. But they would not have had these opportunities had it not been for Yuck Yucks.
This is part of the conversation. That's certainly one of the things we're talking about as I talked to Mark Breslin, and he brought it out, which he has a brand, and his brand is, of course, if you didn't know, and of course you did, you're the booker of the show, the MC was the strongest part of that show, if not the strongest, the second strongest, but mostly the strongest part of the show. Lawrence Morgenstern, if on the show, wouldn't headline, he'd be the host. And he'd make it the strongest thing ever because, like Mark Breslin said, that's how it used to be back in his day. The guy who ran the show, he was the star of the show.
Pretty much for the up and coming nights, yeah, pretty much. Although also you can see the importance of having such a talented comedian as the DMC on the show. You have a paying audience, so you have a responsibility towards your audience. They are coming to have a laugh. It's a comedy club, so you can never be sure. It's really hit and miss the new talent nights, because you can never be sure if any of the material or any of the performers will actually go over well with the audience. So it's important to have a real pro, especially someone like Morgenstern, because you know what it is to bomb. You've seen people bomb on stage. It brings the audience into a sort of like, it's like all of a sudden you have to win them back. And that is why you have MCs like that on and up and comer shows, because that person will bring the audience back, will deliver the laughs, and then on to the next comedian.
Have you ever decided to shoot something like that in the variety genre? Because since you are Cirqueplus, you have more than just cirque performers. You could put on that type of show and invite people to come in to show their talents to you, and basically get a room and say tonight is the night that we're going to look at some new talent to try to move our roster forward, because it's a variety night. It would be, and then you get one of your performers to be the main person, like turn into your Morgenstern, to make the night move forward, and you introduce the world into the visual arts of comedy and, of course, plus of the magicians, the jugglers, music, and make it a variety night, which is what I was always a part of.
Definitely, and yes, I would definitely have a comedian as DMC on such a show, because for a variety of reasons, mostly because you know how a good stand-up comedian is able to keep an audience going. And like I said, if something didn't go over well, the MC comedian will bring the audience right back, eating out of the palm of their hands. The comedy aspect is important to just about any type of performance. Of course, in circus, you have clowns. And actually, speaking of which, I don't know if you remember this performer. Do you remember Paul Walbaum?
No, I don't. I don't remember many names.
He was one of the first, when Yuck Yucks first started, like in the
76, 1976 is what that.
Oh yeah, in the late 70s, early 80s. He was one of the original guys. He developed his act into a nonverbal. He did have some props. He did use some props, but mostly it was a sort of pantomime act. He was pretty much the only one that did that. Actually, at the time, you don't remember this, but he would be ashamed to be reminded of that. But Jeremy Hotz used to do a pantomime act in whiteface.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he did a weightlifting thing. Anyway, nice. This guy, Paul Walbaum, was a very, very interesting and different visual artist. And I ended up using him in circus, and he went over incredibly well for a couple of reasons. Because in circus, you have these clown pieces that are written. It's almost like theater. Their bits are written with a beginning, a middle, and an end, and they tell you a story. So circus clowns are not necessarily the kind of people that can go on stage if you need someone to, I need 2 minutes, give me 2 minutes here. Circus clowns are not necessarily good at this because, like I said, their sketches on stage are written almost like you would write theater.
Yeah, but they must have a bit. As a comedian, or you just made me call myself a comedian. I feel dirty now.
Exactly.
But as an entertainer, you have a 2-minute bit, maybe. I mean, don't clowns know that they might need to pull out a 2-minute bit where they have to just roll it on the stage and pretend that they're a little tiny person that blows themselves into a big person and pops like a balloon and then falls back out? I mean, just a bit.
Well, yeah, of course. In traditional circus, like the red nose type, that's called an Auguste.
No, what?
Or
Again?
the white face
All
one,
goes?
the Pierrot type.
No,
yes,
no.
These guys have bits. However, keep in mind, what we're doing now, this nouveau cirque thing, does not... Everything is written in such a way that, I mean, you've taken the kids to Cirque du Soleil. It doesn't stop. because the show doesn't stop because you need to do a change of equipment on stage. It flows all the time. Like the show is always going continuous until you have like intermission and then second part again continuous. So the clown bits are written in consideration of the show that they perform in.
Okay, so
So
them as performing Cirque clowns, they don't have to have like an actor would have a monologue under their belt, some form of.
yes, of course,
Oh, well,
definitely.
okay. So I'm
But
just
what
saying, if I was a
Steve is
Cirque clown,
saying,
you might want to have a 2-minute bit ready for the ringmaster. That's all I'm saying.
yes, that works well in traditional circus. So if you
Oh,
go to Europe and you will see like the big name circus, like Bouglione, or even like the Moscow circus, they are more like they are presented a lot more that way, like traditionally. So yes, you have clowns that will have 1 minute here, 2 minutes there, just so that they can fill the time when there's a change of equipment or whatever.
right. We took a
The
we took a step left because the question actually was, do you have an up and coming amateur stage that you do for your company, Cirqueplus? Do you have that type of live show that's available for up and comers, or because you
Yeah, we
are a
did
support?
digress big time, because we started with the circus school, and no, we wouldn't actually have an up and comer night, but because of the circus schools, for instance, next week it's going to be the school year end, so the different levels will be presenting a show. So that's how we keep up. We see what the circus schools
Is it a
are
paid show?
doing.
Can people come up and see these students performing? Does it become an
Yeah.
interaction with the community?
Yeah, they're actually public shows. I'll send you a link
Yes,
because it's
please.
interesting. In both Quebec City and Montreal, there is an event that lasts a week that marks the end of the year, the end of the school year for the circus school. In Quebec City, it's called Jours de Cirque, Days of Circus. In Montreal, it's called Montréal Complètement Cirque, Montreal Completely Circus. And you have a lot of events going on. They are open to the public. A lot of the events are free. Here in Quebec City, we are using a section of a very popular street downtown that will be closed, and there will be performances outside as well as performances inside at the circus school, which is, it used to be a church, a really big church, and it got renovated into to become a circus school. So that there will be also performances inside. So that would be our new talent nights. Those would be throughout the year. There will be some kind of presentation, and there will be 3 times throughout the year, so we can see the progress of the performers.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was asking for because you are to me a supporter of the arts, a supporter of talent, the supporter of those who are trying to be talent. You in my world would be a lousy club owner because you don't know how to snap the whip because you are too supportive because that is the business
You're
side.
so right.
Yeah, it's a problem to be that person. And I tried to wear those shoes, and you don't make friends, but because it's a business, like the office manager. You can't hire all the writers all the time. You can't hire all the comedians all the time.
Exactly.
And it became that problem. And for your reason, you had overflow. You were the main booker. Now, I don't know what you booked inside Yuck Yucks 100%, but the night I know for sure was the Monday night up and coming. You were answering the phone, and you felt bad. You said, I have 25 kids here that have no place to be. I can't put them
I
on my
know.
show.
And I felt so bad because you remember how it was. All the lines would light up. Actually, my job at Yuck Yucks was programming the comedians on what they called funny business. Funny business is all the clubs that do comedy shows that are not called Yuck Yucks. This other guy, Ed, who asked me to come and work with him at Yuck Yucks, he did that. He programmed the comedians in all the clubs called Yuck Yucks. What I did was those other clubs that did comedy nights, and they would hire their comedians from Yuck Yucks. So that was my main job. And then there was the new talent night.
So that's a road show. It's not the franchisees, but the road show that would go on there. The Funny Business Fun Nights that would have pop up in a bar for a one night evening on a Thursday. That would be your booking.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, so that's how you were involved, and I didn't know you about that because I was always in the up-and-coming category, and because you work for Yuck Yucks, there's no such thing. I was an amateur, and I was always an amateur, and in the world of Yuck Yucks, until I went outside of myself and became a feature performer, and then Mark Breslin himself booked me, not Funny Business and not Yuck Yucks. He booked me to let me go out west, but that's my own interaction between me and him. But between you and I, you had an overflow for your up-and-coming night, not your on-the-road nights ever, I'm pretty sure. And you allowed me, because we were told during the class that was run by a lot of interesting professional Yuck comedians. I don't even know where some of them are anymore. I mean, I would like to know what happened to Jack Norman.
Oh my God, Jack Norman! Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no answers for you, but I would like to know what happened to him.
Well, of course, with Facebook, I
don't know.
I got contact again with a lot of people. Of course, as you know, several of them moved to the United States.
Yeah, or the UK. I would say most of the guys I work with are in the UK.
In England. Even Ron Vaudry is in the UK. Sean Collins, Tom Stade. Oh, yeah, like several of them.
Yeah, no, the big uns. I mean, Ron Vaudry, rightfully so, won't accept my friend request on Facebook.
Ron?
Yeah, Mr. Vaudry won't accept my... I mean, if I didn't have to accept my friend, I wouldn't. But
such a snob, Ron.
He's not a snob. He's a comedy snob. But
Exactly.
he, in his own right, and he probably the reason he can't be my friend on Facebook is the reason why I kept going when he kept saying, "Who told Adam Pally was funny?" Sadly, it was him. But he won't own that. He said, "You know what you need to do? Grab a guitar," and I blame him. And that's the problem. He blames himself. So how do you talk to yourself? He should be out of this business. I sucked him into this. How do I talk to him? I ruined his life. So I'm hoping that's how Ron looks at it. But you had, as I said, an overflow always of 20 people plus. The people running the Yuck Yucks up and coming amateur crash and burn night.
I felt so, and I could only take so many people.
Right.
And the reason I took it over was because this was booked by the reservation staff. The reservation staff doesn't know what's going on stage. So they will take a sheet of paper and they will answer the lines one by one, and they will write the names one by one. However, for us, me and the not the head guy, because he did the Yuck Yucks clubs, but the other guy, Evan, for us it was important to stay in touch with what people like you, up-and-comers, were doing on New Talent Night, and we often attended them. So it was important to structure the show in such a way that when you knew someone had been working really hard on new stuff and was actually starting to get strong reactions from the audience, you didn't want that person to be the first one on the show. There had to be like a certain way to structure the show, so that it has its ups and downs.
Yeah, no, Yuck Yucks has his own flavor.
I took it over from the reservation staff because I was able to change the order to accommodate certain people that we were keeping an eye on.
Yeah, no, and you did. I would say that it became, if you did well enough, you came back the next week. There was always 5 people who did well the week before that got advanced to always have an open stage, to feel that you were being supported by the largest club in North America. And that was great, except it only allowed 12 spots for the night, and it's only the one night. The rest of them were paid spots, or if they were spots you were not paid, it was still, you had to advance even further, and you were no longer then doing the up and coming Monday night at all. So you had a choice. This was what had happened. And I know that we had a special relationship because I was told to go out and find those funny businesses, but don't tell funny business. They actually said, go out and find one-nighters, work in front of bands, find yourself an open stage, and get yourself stronger, because all you can do is get yourself stronger and make yourself a better asset, and then at the end of the day, a better comedian that I can then try to mold into a Yuck Yucks comedian. So that was the conversation. So I went out and I started several stages, and one of them is still going today, but not because I created a variety stage. It was backed with music. It had an hour of music and an hour of variety. If I could get a plate spinner on every show, I would. And it was very difficult to get so many people, so many calls. And you offered me your list of names every week of the people that didn't get on the stage.
You remember that? Wow.
Well, yeah. Well, that's how it made it. It made it that much. That's how I knew Yuck Yucks didn't have the hold that everyone said it was. They were just feeling not disheveled, put down, held back, like the man was trying to show him something. And comedians are already trying to find their voice, and now they're feeling like they're being stifled as a craftsman. And that's not, when you look at it as a business, he wasn't. He's trying to create a product, and he wanted you to come out a Mercedes-Benz, not a bunch of Fords.
Yeah, there was a lot of things like in the way they would bring up the up and comers. There was a lot of things that this other guy that I worked with, Evan, and I didn't really agree with. So we tried to find ways to encourage, but like sort of behind the scenes, say, such as I did with you.
Yeah, no, you did. And so did you do more? I guess what I'm asking is what the club that you basically assisted to give the illusion that it had strength because it was just basically a derivative of you, and allowing me to do my variety because I knew everyone who wanted to sing songs, but I did not know a bunch of people who wanted to do jokes per se. And that was the marriage that it worked out very, very nicely. And then those people kept coming out. And Kenny Robinson, when the Yuck Yucks finally got their television show, Kenny Robinson, still one of the biggest people that ever came to my stages to support, came out and he did the rockingest rocking set ever because he was doing his A game before he was going on to television. And he blew a room away, and you're like, holy crap, this is a real room. I mean, it can be done. I mean, you think you're going up there just to hear the words pass by your lips for the first time, truly like an open stage, which it is, and it still is. It's still an open forum. But people bring their A game to open mics now because you don't know who's going to be sitting in that audience. You don't know.
Exactly.
And because you said you go out to your open mics, I'm pretty sure no one knew that you were sitting in the back of the room, if you ever were, to see the talents for which were booked.
We did, and we as much as possible, we tried not to be obvious about it because it unnerved the up and coming performers to know if Evan and I were in the audience.
Yeah, but you're using the word up and coming already, and they were called amateurs, and they were actually looking to see, because having someone bomb badly isn't a terrible experience in a comedy club in a basement. It has the exact opposite reaction, you would think, especially when you have a very strong MC who's going to come up, not only save the day, but put holes and riddle holes into the person that was just performing. So my question was, did you do that for any other stages? I mean, you helped me. Were there any other people that you put under your wing that you you helped their stages as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Is there anyone you could shout out to? Because I'm reaching out to people in Ontario all the time, and these are the chats that I was going to have anyways. I mean, we're friends on Facebook. Anyone on my Facebook account is people who I actually know. I mean, I don't have, it's not a fan page. There are people who I know in life. Facebook has now opened me to have conversations, which allowed me to reach out to you in social media land to say I really wanted to promote the idea of, live performances. And you actually have a school teaching live performance, and I did not know that. Now I know that you also, not only do you have a school, they put out the up-and-coming amateur Here You Come nights that allow them to see themselves performing on stage, which is exactly where I thought you would be. And now you also perform with bands. And you said you still represent some comedians? Is that what you just said? Because it's plus?
We have, because in that corporate environment, we often have a demand for an MC type person, and like there are French Canadian comedians like André Philippe Gagnon. He's still performing. He's still in high demand. Voice impressionist.
Yeah, no. Did you book him? Is he part of your show? What?
We have access to him.
Wow.
If it's someone that is in demand, especially for these type of events.
Yeah.
And he acts as MC, and he will do a couple of his bits during the evening while MCing. He still does We Are the World.
Oh, wow. I would have always told you that I was, I'm not an impressionist, but the joke on Yuck Yuck stage was, I call myself an impressionist because most of my act is someone else's.
Oh, ouch.
But that was my joke for me. But I am actually a mimic. That is what I do for fun. People are always dumbfounded, but I'm a mimic. I have to hear it so I can repeat it back, which isn't really stage worthy unless I load myself up with bits, like you would call it. You'd be probably prepared to be doing, Hey man, I'm Ray Romano here, and I just want to tell you, everyone loves me.
Oh my God, you do sound like Ray.
Yeah.
You know who else is good with that?
Most people that are performers.
Billy Cowan.
Who?
Billy Cowan.
Oh, Billy Cowan, yes, because he was in the news and communication. So anytime you're in a business where you get to put on a headset and hear your own voice back at you, it gives you the opportunity to hear what other people hear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he was the only one who did me and actually sounded like me.
Yeah, you know what?
Because most people would just talk in a high voice with a French accent.
Right.
But he actually sounded like me.
Yeah, I'm so happy that every comedian did an impression of you.
Oh yeah, Mark Walker. Mark
Everybody.
Walker.
No, there's not. I don't know anyone that didn't.
Mark Walker got me on the phone so many times. Hi, it's Arlen. Hi, it's Norm. And of course, I would bite every time.
Really? I think I do. Hold on. What voice would he do?
Oh, he did Norm beautifully.
Norm who?
Harlan Williams.
Norm MacDonald?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Here we go. So, I want to just call you there, Ann. I was wanting to think if I could, I just want to book the weekend. So, there's this dog, he was always biting down my neck, and I was like, you're a wiener dog. Oh, the wiener dog's going to eat my neck, and I can't believe that wiener dog. Did you ever have a wiener dog? Oh, I love me a wiener dog.
Totally, Norm.
I love me a wiener dog. Oh, wiener dog. Oh, geez, David Letterman's got a wiener dog. I'm out of here. I'm gone.
Show me your bin o' dogs.
Yeah. So that's what I am. I'm a mimic, but I never used it. When people hear my impressions, they say, you were on stage for 20 and you never did that? I said, no, I do 3 impressions. One was Carol Channing, which was fun for me, but I always had a beard.
Nice.
I have a full beard doing Carol Channing.
Yeah, unusual.
Yeah. And the other one, I have 2 others, was David Hasselhoff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But the joke, of course, is who wants to see me holding my stomach for a full hour? I tell jokes. That's what I do. I like jokes.
You should do David Hasselhoff as a drunk.
Oh, boom! Only if I was singing in French. Only if I was singing in French. I think the French love me some David. The people in France are the Jerry Lewis and David Hasselhoff. They can't get enough. And Germans.
The Jerry Lewis
and the Germans.
thing, I know people really don't get it. France is so like Jerry Lewis, but that type of comedy, that physical comedy, and also the sort of yelling, the screaming, that is so traditionally French. I believe that's why he was such a huge star in France and in the European French countries like Belgium, because of that whiny voice and that screaming stuff that he did all the time. Because if you look at really big French comedy stars, Louis de Funès, that's pretty much the character he played in every single one of his movies. He's the chief of police and he screams at people all the time.
I got to be honest. I have a little depression and a little mania. So I scream all the time too, and once in a while when I start screaming, I catch myself, and I'm wondering why am I doing Gene Wilder impressions? Or it's Regis. This is Regis. I don't know why I'm screaming. I'm screaming and I'm outrageous, and I can't stop. Is the problem?
Why can't I think of his name? The little Jewish comedian.
A little Jewish comedian. Or there only be one.
Yeah, right. That's unusual.
Gilbert Godfrey. Gilbert Godfrey does a great.
That's it, Gilbert Godfrey.
Well, that was weird. A little Jewish comedian.
Character.
I just wanted to know who you think I'm talking to when I'm doing a Gilbert Godfrey impression.
I think you have to put a little bit of rasp into that one.
Well, I could, but people think that you're trying to feel like you got marbles in your mouth.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's the talking Gilbert, not the jokey on stage Gilbert. Because the truth is you want to sound like the parrot. Like that's the mimicry that they want to hear. Aladdin, they want to hear. I can't believe I'm not going in there.
All right.
They want to hear the Aladdin voice, not the guy who was doing the Aristocrats. Which is hilarious. I want to do the Aristocrats for you. For you, I want to do Aristocrats. But at the same time, he does the best. Hey, I'm Jerry Lewis. I'm not Jerry. That's Jerry Seinfeld. The best Jerry Seinfeld you've ever heard.
He does do a great Seinfeld.
Yeah, and now I'm trying to mimic. Every impression I do is not the person. I do an impressionist doing an impression of an impressionist. Like it would be Rich Little doing an impression of the guy from Bizarre, John Biner, doing an impression of, somebody, and I do then the impression of him. That's what I do. That's what I
It's
do.
funny. I liked what he did, Rich Little, but you know what? For some reason, I could always hear his voice in his impressions,
Right.
and it's a little bit the same with Andre Philippe.
You can actually hear what?
Like his voice, his own voice.
Oh, you can hear his.
I detect his own voice.
I don't think I
each
know
one
what
of
he
his
sounds like.
impressions.
I mean, I know what Rich Little sounds like, but I really don't know what, because he's French, is he not? He actually
Yeah,
speaks with
he's
a very
French
thick.
Canadian.
Yeah, so I actually don't know the voice. Meaning, so when he jumps in, because you're French, you can just like the English singer. Oh, look, sing a song for you right now, and then he starts singing with no accent.
That's right.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
all like that.
Yeah, right. But that's the same deal with the French Canadian. It's not there. It's so I can't hear it because I don't have a distinguish other than I know he clearly sounds like he's French, and I couldn't even say Quebecois. I just know it sounds French.
Yeah, he's actually his real voice. He's pretty soft spoken. The first time I worked with him, I found that surprising because his voice carries really well when he's on stage. Of course, an impressionist has to know how to use a mic, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. And he does.
His real voice is actually quite soft spoken.
Right. Yeah, no, he I never did any of it on stage. I never thought of doing any of it all on stage. But he did it so well that why would you be doing it on stage? But again, people hear my mimicry and they think I should be doing that. That's what my act should have been: playing guitar, or lack of playing guitar, as became the act later on in life, and doing some impressions. I would like everything to turn into the Segway song, or sing a song, or try to entertain. If I was ever on stage, like I said to Kenny Robinson, and they said they wanted me to have a contest or a joke off with somebody, I would just start singing. I mean, I turned it into an entertainment off. I'm not going to try to be as funny as Jerry Seinfeld. He worked 9 hours a day and worked 11 years on a show, and he is a craftsman comedian with his own POV. So I am on the other side, but you're also the performer. As you said, my sons asked you questions, and you said, yeah, you couldn't find someone to speak the English, and you grabbed yourself a hat and and walked into the ring.
No, I didn't actually grab myself.
No, the hat. You said that with the dunce hat.
The circus stuff is all made customized. Everything is made customized.
Oh.
And oh man, I can't tell you, like, I was so nervous because I'm a backstage person. I'm really not an on-stage person. And they gave me an artistic director to work with me and who taught me, like, basic things. Like the first two things, you smile with your mouth open and you draw pictures in the air with your hands. So that's, exaggerating movement, gestures. But I was so nervous. My knees were shaking. And he said to me, just be conscious of your breathing. And because I had a really long entrance the first time I came out onto the stage. And he said, just be conscious of your breathing and make a rhythm with your steps and your breathing. So it's kind of like taking your mind off of what you'll be doing because you're concentrating on something else. So that helped me a lot, this kind of stuff. Also, he told me, do you see the amount of makeup that's on your face? Nobody knows that it's you. It's not you up there. It's that character. So think of her in the third person, because once you take that face off, go walk in the audience, nobody's going to know that it's you. And that's absolutely true. So he put me at ease that way. And that's basically what I did. This event, the client, it was a pretty standard audience for a corporate 1,500 people, but they were 50-50 Canadians, English Canadians and French Canadians. So they wanted someone who could jump from French to English easily and deliver sentences in both languages. Blah, blah, blah in English, blah, blah, blah in French. And I can do that. I could do that. Je suis capable de parler les deux langues in the same sentence. Dans la même phrase, I can switch from French to English en continuant de dire la même chose, passer d'une langue à l'autre, to go from one language to the other.
Oh,
See?
I'm jealous right now.
And
But
that actually made sense. What I just said actually
well,
made
you can make it
sense.
up. It doesn't matter. I'm from Canada as well as from Ontario, so we're like the only province trying to do the whole bilingual thing. Truly, I don't think there's an actual province really trying to pull it off, other than Canada. I mean, other than
Well,
Ontario, because
you're
Quebec.
very bilingual if you start going up north. Like, I mean, the whole region between, say, Hearst and Kapuskasing, really, really French. PEI also is very French. Nova Scotia, but if you go down the point towards like away from Halifax, southwest, that gets really French down there too.
Right. No, and then when I traveled, Mark Breslin sent me out west. So there's in the north, the Saskatchewan was French,
Yeah,
and
indeed, and Manitoba as
yeah,
well.
yeah. Well, that's Manitoba. Yeah, Manitoba. Yeah, and yeah. But I
In
found
this,
Calgary was nothing, and Vancouver was weird as a concept of being Canadian. I didn't really even understand if they were even Canadian or not. The truth of the matter is,
Vancouver, by the way, I should have mentioned, also has a circus school.
are you involved with that circus school?
It's my good friend Peter Boulanger and his wife Ninon Parent. So if you're interested, I can certainly connect you.
Yeah, you know what, Vancouver. So yeah, I will list all these schools. This is great. So if you're a young guy and you know how to do some magic and you know how to make some balloon animals and you do a little bit of origami, is that too close up magic? You know, too close up impersonal to be a part of a Cirque show?
Unfortunately, yes, because of the for exactly that reason, because of the distance between the audience and the performer. So anything like exactly what you just mentioned, close up sleight of hand, origami, balloons. Well, yeah, you get away with that, but anything that is like really too close up doesn't play well to an audience. However,
What if
the
I get
use
some
of
like paper as big as
well,
wallpaper, a piece of paper as big as wallpaper, and I comedically pantomime folding a big huge duck? You know what I mean?
neat.
I'm just trying to figure it out because if someone, all I need someone to tell me ever in life to motivate me to do something is that can't be done. And for whatever reason, just someone saying it can't be done makes me want to do it. So yeah, you know, unfortunately you can't do origami or this type of stuff for a Cirque show. And I'm like, hold on. Now my brain, as the creative juices start to flow, like Steven
Yeah.
Spielberg, the shark didn't show up, but I still got to make the scariest movie ever dealing with a shark, but don't see a shark for this first 6 weeks. And that's why you got the scariest movie ever. Genius is dealing with, you know, it not showing up. And that's why
Yeah.
you picking up the cards, you are a great choice to be the glue to hold the show together, because you are understanding what the people in the audience who paid for a show know what to deliver, and you are just delivering the show, not with I'm trying to fulfill my life to be this performer. You're trying to make the show congealed. That
Exactly. Also, you don't have the level of competition, I guess, in circus that you would have in comedy or in music. Because name one circus performer.
right,
Unless you work in circus, the attraction, Cirque du Soleil, is the star,
well, right,
not the performers themselves.
right.
If you work in circus, yes, of course, you know who's who, you know who does what. But for an audience, that doesn't exist. The attraction itself, whether it's Ringling, Barnum and Bailey, Cirque du Soleil, or Bouglione, the attraction is the star of the show. So you don't have that level of competition within the circus.
So if you're a physical comedian and you feel you're not afraid of heights, this could be like, how do you get started? I mean, you're not a Cirque performer. You explained yourself. You're a tour person who sees the value in entertainment and loves that your entertainment can cross boundaries. You can go anywhere in the world because there's no language. The language is entertainment.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I love that. That's what I love about, I mean, I wish my songs were multifaceted, but I did the best I could by, when I did a proper show, and I emceed a proper show, afterwards, if I did it correctly, people would ask, how many languages do you know? because that was the joke. Every joke had some different portions of language to it, trying to make it. It didn't matter what I was saying; it was the cadence of what I had said. So I was trying my own flavor flavs of bringing comedy to the world, and I'm a variety performer, always was, and you supported me. Always had a guitar around me, and you supported that, even though. Hey, do you remember Yuck Yucks ever being called the Comedy Emporium?
Oh my God.
Okay, now the
I
big
did hear that, but I can't remember where that's from.
No, what happened was in my world, they were trying to stop other people from taking over. They actually called themselves, and Mark said through his story that it was called the Improv and Stand-Up Club because they wanted improv not to be able to come into Canada and own the name improv. So that was smart by them. But when I said Emporium, he called me on it, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I went to your clubs all the time. And I need someone else to confirm it because I went through my pictures. I did find the one that said improv, but he explained that day. But I haven't found the Emporium picture. But, you show up. I had a great time there. And I'm pretty sure that your shows, mostly private, so that's a different day, right? If the CEO doesn't laugh, no one else is allowed to laugh. It's a different show. It's a different setup. So you run your business from your home office?
Yes. When I came back to Quebec City, I was living with my sister, but started this company. It actually became popular quite fast, the company. So there was a lot of things there's certain things that I don't do. Like I don't do artistic choreography, artistic direction, that kind of stuff. So we have people for that. And administration. I don't do administration. Oh. I mean, geez, Revenue Canada,
right,
taxes and whatever.
Right.
So there is someone who works here full time. Her name is Carolyn,
right,
and she has her office across from me over there.
Okay, so what's the link to reach out to you if I wanted to hire you for a private show? How do I reach out to you for that? Is that the Facebook page? Would people reach out to you at your Facebook?
The Facebook page. It's because, of course, we have Cirqueplus.com. But the person who was taking care of it for us, he was from France and he moved back to France. So we have actually been neglecting our website because we don't really know how it works, how to change things.
So you're going to tell us the circus that there's a circus school that the administration, you come in for September like a regular school year starts.
Yeah, and you actually have it's a curriculum. It's like it's like when you're in sports.
That's funny. I got rubber balls exactly at noon.
The same thing,
right?
You have academic and you have the sport. In this case, circus.
Oh, so you do like math and English as well?
Yeah. It's actually kind of tough for them.
Oh, nice.
It's a really hard school year.
Okay, so you have to have your GED to get in then?
Not necessarily, because we do have people that come from, like I said, from different
countries.
Yeah, this year we have Arisa Meguro. Arisa Meguro is Japanese. Nice. She came to Quebec City, does not speak French, does not speak English. She was a gymnast in Japan. She applied at the Montreal Circus School and did not get accepted. She then applied at the Quebec City School and she was accepted. She has an advantage at the level of flexibility. She has natural hyper flexibility. I think people call that double jointed. Mm-hmm. So like she's extremely, extremely flexible without having to train much to achieve it.
So is she in the school or is she now master class? Or
Can you imagine coming from Japan and being thrown into a school, into a French school where some people maybe speak a little bit of English?
Right. So how's that working out? How's that working out? Is this from last year? Like she signed it last year, September?
Yeah, she's in second year now.
All right. And so how many years is it to get your master? Is it a master's of clown? Or is it a master of cirque? Is it a master's?
Dick. Jeez.
What's the document? Like and a BA, an MA. Is it a bachelor of clowning? A bachelor of...
It's called DEC in French. So DEC. So it's probably the equivalent of... BA or master or whatever.
Wow. Well, master would be 4 years. A BA would be 3. So how many years is it? Is what I'm asking. How many years is?
Oh,
Oh, four is a master. Wow.
yeah.
So
But like I said, a lot of people come from the world of gymnastics, some from the world of dance. There are auditions. It's not just, paying tuition. Like you have to be accepted into the circus school because, of course, there are only so many spots too.
and now you're back to exactly where you were during Yuck Yucks. Only so many spots. Only so many people being allowed to be a part of
That's
something.
right. That's right.
You're full circle, lady. Do you miss the dealing with specifically the brokenhearted of the depressed and the mania and the maniacs that are considered to be the stand-up comic philosophers of the world? Do you miss these people?
To a point, yeah, I must say. In fact, I gotta admit, before I started working at Yuck Yucks, I had never even been to a comedy show ever. I took the job and then I went to see a show.
Yeah.
And Harry Dupe was the MC.
Nice.
And
I love me some Harry Dupe. I don't like any sports, so it made us very hard to we couldn't have a conversation. I don't like sports at all. He ended up working for like 10 years for TSN. He was a writer for the shows on TSN, making them funny.
wow.
Yeah, and he also did a lot of writing for the award shows as well. That's where Harry Dupe, and he also supported the open mics. He was one of the
That's
people who
right.
went out and supported
Yeah.
people up and coming for sure. So you're still doing it, and so what's funny is that in Canada, the CBC, even if you don't know comedy, they'd make you the head of comedy, like at the CBC. Like that's a Canadian thought. If you can do a job and you're no longer have any bad habits, people feel that's a good place to start when you look like you. She knows that. She knows talent. She knows how to book bands. She knows how to put people on tour. She has these organizational skills, and now we're putting those skills to comedy.
I think because of that, I wouldn't get the job. Like let's say I wanted to apply to the CBC, a job, let's say similar to Sandra Fair's job.
Right.
I wouldn't get the job because I have the qualifications for the job. That's
Exactly.
why I wouldn't get the job.
No, that's what I'm saying. And you got the Yuck Yucks job with the same qualifications you needed to get that CBC job. Then you could have been hired by Sandra Fair.
The Young Yucks job was basically setting up an agency for them.
Right.
Because up to the point where Ed Smeal joined them, they only booked their own clubs.
Right.
But it became, you know how it is.
Yeah.
This was back in the 80s. Comedy was the rock and roll of the 80s. Comedians were the rock stars of the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, if you start thinking of the shows, the TV shows that achieved a really high level of popularity in the 80s,
Cosby Show, Night
every
Court.
single one of them featured a or more stand-up comedians.
Yeah, Harry
From
Anderson,
Fritz
sure,
Butler
Bill Cosby,
to
yeah.
Roseanne Barr
Yeah.
to, of course, Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, that's
And
90s,
that carried into the 90s.
That's the 90s,
Ray
yeah.
Romano.
Yep.
I like being a mammoth. Everyone, you know what I'm saying?
Anyway, yeah, so that's for sure. So you full circle. And you seem happy living in Quebec. I was in Quebec City, which I thought was funny because they don't even call it Quebec City. Only people in Ontario call Quebec City Quebec City. Everyone who lives in Quebec call it Quebec.
Was it Quebec? Yeah. and actually, we were in touch, but I wasn't here when you were here, right?
No, we had a great time. No, but you gave me leads of what to do. I walked the wall. It was almost like a death march for my children.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't expect that. Citron, they were not impressed. They were like, "There's a park. Can't we play for a second, Daddy?" No, march. And we're walking the wall, baby. But the French, with their own business in every aspect. You have your own music. You have your own literature. You have your own artists. You have your own everything. And Quebec qualifies itself all the time by saying there is money in the arts because we're supporting our own. 11 million people supporting the 11,000 artists, and it's working out really well.
That is the one thing that Quebec has that the rest of Canada doesn't seem to have. Quebec has its own star system.
Yeah.
In Canada, I've noticed over the years, like even if you take as big as, say, Rush.
Yep. Geddy Lee, the band.
They never made it in Canada. They were playing high school dances. The kids were looking at them like, what the
Yeah.
or the gasworks on Yonge Street.
That was awesome. There's
They
not there.
went to the United States and started getting some momentum in the US, and then all of a sudden Canada went, oh, they like you in the US, come back, we've decided we're gonna like you
Yeah,
too.
that's the English Canada. Yeah.
Like so many bands, there's so many,
Yeah, tragically hip. You have to go away to come back.
yeah, but in Quebec, they actually have a star system that creates and nurtures performers, whether it's in drama, television, music, song.
I know, and because I don't know how Canada needs to, instead of being influenced by the big South, like you're saying is happening, where the French can't. They're not even allowed to. They have to keep and because of that, they made themselves so strong over the course of the last 100 years that you look at it, it's like Bollywood. It is its own thing. It's inside itself, and you have enough people to support it. And for that, I want to congratulate Quebec as a whole. I just would love to be able to bring that over here. And because you are the lady who helps the up and comers, I would say that Quebec has made it, and Canada we have no star system. So we need a star system.
We just need people to be less apathetic towards the arts in their own country, because it really seems to be like that. Oh, I don't care who you are or what you do. Oh, you're getting popular in Europe. Okay, yeah, now I want to know who you are. Like even that little freak, Bieber.
Oh, Justin Bieber. He's a little freak.
He went to the US.
He did.
He was a little internet star for some reason. He had like, new little not even like teenagers, like little girls,
right,
watching him sing little songs in his bedroom.
Right.
But he got an audience, an internet audience in the US.
Right. But he also had Usher. I think Usher put him under his wing. Anytime a black person can utilize a white person to get the voice out there, like an Eminem, you find someone who's close enough to be talented and give them the voice. Because if you don't know, everybody wants to be black in the entertainment industry because they have the proper voice. It's tragic, and now you get to be ridiculously hilarious. But, when you get to be Jewish, you get to tell your Jewish jokes. If you're black, you get to tell black jokes. I don't even know if that's a thing. I don't even think I should say that out loud, but it's true. It's a truism.
Yeah, it still is a thing. If you're black, you can be black.
Yeah.
And you can say the N-word.
You can do whatever you want. Actually, you can, after you say the N-word, you're allowed to say the K-word, you're allowed to say the C-word. All words are now open to you because that's how comedy works.
It's the same for Jewish comics.
Exactly.
Doing Jewish material.
Exactly.
Which is not necessarily accepted from, say, an Irish comedian.
No, I would say it would be harsh. But what I like is going to Israel and hearing Holocaust jokes and knowing, well, if they can do them here.
Ouch.
Yeah, I know. You have to be able to take it on the chin. That's how that works. You can't tell the joke. I mean, I called Mark Breslin on, anyone that works for Yuck Yucks, I call them a yucky comedian. I mean, that's how that goes. But I never, it's a tick. It was because when Yuck Yucks started, the first thing in my world, they were like, oh, Yuck Yucks, that's a good club. Yuck Yucks, that makes sense. And then the comedians are, hey, you doing Yucks this weekend? Really? We're shortening Yuck Yucks to Yucks?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
And then from that, I got yucky comedians. So that's how it goes. But so we're reaching out as a Canadians. Do you have an idea of how to start a star system for us? Because you can see it working for Quebec.
Yeah, I think what Quebec has that the rest of Canada lacks is television exposure. If something new is coming out, you will see them. There's a bunch of little, talk shows and stuff like that, and a lot of shows that are valid. Unfortunately, Canadian television doesn't have that great a reputation. But I think if television was more supportive of Canadian performers, I think it would come around to actually creating that kind of a star system that doesn't seem to exist in English Canada. So I think basically it's exposure. So like anything that comes out, like Celine Dion. Celine Dion, you know the story, right? She was singing in church in a small village, and the guy who became the manager and then became the husband, this Vengali guy.
Is he a producer? He was a producer already, though, right? He was already in the industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then she went to Vegas, and then are they still together?
Oh, he took her under his wing, and but she all of a sudden, she was on everything in Quebec. I mean, she was even on Super Dave, man.
Right.
I don't know if you remember that.
Of course I remember Super Dave, the Bizarre
She
Show
was
with
on
John
Super
Biner.
Dave.
Come
She
on.
was on Super Dave before the rest of Canada had even heard of her.
That's
But
funny.
basically, he had
Star.
her on everything. She was on every talk show, anything that had an opportunity to have her singing live. And of course, like, the little rags, like, the magazines that you look at the covers
Right,
when you're in line at the grocery store.
The Examiners and
There's
such.
a bunch of them in Quebec. So, like, all of a sudden her face was everywhere with her crooked teeth and frizzy hair.
Oh my lord.
And
Are you not a fan of the Celine Dion? Is that what just
oh
happened?
yeah, oh she's outstanding.
Oh.
But no, like really, she had an image change because like we first saw her. She was a teenager, and her teeth grew out crooked.
Oh.
She had the eye teeth that grew on top of the other teeth. So
Right.
of course, like over the years,
yeah.
she had the proper type of work done.
Right.
She hasn't had that type of work done. No,
Right.
I'm speaking orthodontist.
Yeah.
Straighten out her teeth.
Right.
No, she does. She hasn't.
Is she
had
the star
any-
of Quebec right now? Is she still now the most money-making, most recognized superstar at the egg stars of Quebec? Is she on the
I
list?
would say so. Yeah, I would say so. Definitely.
All right, and has
But
she ever?
again,
Go ahead.
we're talking about this star system thing.
Yeah.
Comedians here, comedians in Quebec are huge
Right.
for the same reason, because they are getting from the beginning of their career a level of exposure that has them known to the population of Quebec.
Right.
That's something that lacks in English Canada.
Right.
And also, like CBC, I mean, let's face it, come on, CBC is not the end all be all of television programming, okay? City TV did a better job with shows like Second City,
Right.
or SCTV rather, sorry.
Right. Is there a French version of that in on your channels that you have the French?
There are a few actually, yeah. There's one that has like these little snippets that take place around a water cooler. It's called Camera Cafe. There's a coffee machine next to it. There was one I really liked too with the three popular Quebec actors, and there are icon shows like Corner Gas. In my opinion, Corner Gas should be a Canadian icon show.
Nice.
It's so, the characters are so well chosen to represent different Canadian types, like
Right.
typical Canadian types.
Right.
And there is one in Quebec, or there was rather, because it's no longer on the air, La Petite Vie,
What?
the small life, the little life. And that show came out of a duo of comedians that used to call themselves Ding and Dong.
I like dung.
And Ding and Dong. And in their live show, their live comedy show, they had a little segment that they did. They played a husband and wife. And the way that they had it, the set, they had a mattress standing up and with the blankets Velcroed. So they would walk into the bed like they're standing up and Velcro the blankets. So it's like, you know what I mean,
Yep.
right? It's like standing up.
Yep.
And it was just like a quick bit, a skit as part of their comedy show, the mom and dad speaking to each other before going to bed. But out of that, they created an actual TV show, a 30-minute TV show that it was so popular in Quebec. In fact, when DVD machines came out, that is the first DVD I bought. I bought the complete set of The Little Life, La Petite Vie.
What?
That is like a total Quebec icon, to the point that there is a museum, the Museum of Popular Culture. They have a permanent exhibit of The Little Life, La Petite Vie, their set, the kitchen table,
Okay, so that's an icon. Basically, if we had
so
that.
I think if a company like CBC gave opportunities to comedians to create things, there aren't enough
Right.
opportunities given.
And they're cutting them in half now because the whole idea of the CRTC saying there had to be Canadian content of 75% has now been told for new content to be 50 now. So it's now just dropped for new productions. So if you're a new production trying to start off in Canada, in English-speaking Canada anyways, 50% of the budget, 25% of it got taken away for the idea of new and upcoming Canadian productions. So that's a sadness.
Yeah,
that's a sadness. So here we are wrapping up. That's a sad note to be in, but if you're going to be speaking French, my kids all in French immersion, I'm going to promote to them that they should move to Quebec at some point, join the circus, and have themselves a heck of a time because you can get a BA and also know how to float. Come on.
True enough. How to fly.
Yeah, I want to run at somebody and have them just shoot me up in the air and go, I'm getting an A! I'm getting an A! That's what I want. I want someone to judge me on my landing on my face. That was funny. Next time, feet. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I'm sorry, Adam. I kept you online a lot longer than
you didn't
I
keep
was
me...
supposed to.
No.
But it was really fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed speaking with your kids.
Thank you.
I thought their question was just so cute.
Oh, good.
Obviously, the older one, Benjamin, is more curious about
He is. He actually he does know how to do balloon animals, magic, and origami, and he could do a kids party now. And he is fairly strong, so I'm not too sure where he'll end up. My father's a gymnast, so at some point.
Wow. Whereabouts are you in Canada?
I'm in Port Credit, Mississauga. I'm on the lakeshore.
There is a circus school in Mississauga.
Huh?
The Wonderful World of Circus. Look it up on the web. The Wonderful World of Circus.
I will.
And
I must be the only parent thinking, might want my kid to run away with the circus. I'm pretty sure.
That's more casual. That's, like if you don't want your kids to run away with the circus, it's a good place to send them. They will learn, like juggling and,
right.
Things that are casual, but it's not necessarily a move towards a full-time circus.
Yeah, all my boys have juggling balls. They all know how to juggle too, as you know.
Neat.
Most boys know how to juggle too. And hello. And but they're working on the third, which is weird in its own right. So he plays 4 musical instruments. All the kids were excited to be a part of this and excited to have a conversation with someone who is a touring manager, also willing to perform, living in Quebec, and they were just excited to have you here. And so was I, as I've had another woman live from my bedroom, and I won't get divorced. That's the best part of having this show and having all beautiful ladies coming into my room. So I'm going to sign off, and so I can turn off the recording machine, but then I want to say goodbye to you offline if that's okay. All right?
It was quite fun.
Thank
you very much for inviting me, and if you want to put a picture, go get the one of me as the clown on my Facebook page.
Already done. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll say see you later off later. Yes, I signed my soul on the dotted line.